Ajahn, our first question is from Anonymous from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. What makes the Buddha different or special as a religious leader? And why are reflections on the Buddha's birth, enlightenment, and death helpful to us now in the 21st century?
The Buddha is a very unique figure in history and very different from other religious teachers. And one of the main features is that Buddhism does not have a reference to God as a creator. Now, in the West and throughout the world, we're familiar with what are called the Abrahamic religions, Christianity, Judaism, and Islam. And their center and preoccupation is theistic, around the nature of God and prophets who interpret God, etc. Buddhism does no such thing. It is what we would say human-centered. The Buddha himself is a human, is not a deity, and he gives advice, which is great emphasis on personal effort and understanding. So the key to salvation, and from a Buddhist point of view, is wisdom, insight, clarity, and ethical behavior. So it distinguishes itself from other teachings in this. It is very similar to perhaps what we refer to as psychology today. But the problem with psychology is usually just secular. It doesn't have a transcendent view of things. So Buddhism, although it doesn't refer to God, it is transcendent in its view. It does have a view that there is something beyond this life, and that if one does not solve the problems in this life, they will continue in the next. The other thing about the Buddha's teaching is that it's not exclusive to any race or caste, or even, it's not even a club that you can join, except through your own personal initiative and wisdom. So you will see that other religious kind of teachings have some form of salvation through membership. Buddhism, you can't join this one except through wisdom. And anybody who is wise and kind will have good results. And it doesn't matter what religion they are, where they come from on the earth. So this is a very cosmopolitan religion. So the Buddha is also establishing the first religion that's not located anywhere and not racial or cultural. So this is why, in fact, that we are having a worldwide conversation right now and having questions and answers from around the world, is because this Buddhism easily transplants and translates into different languages and different cultures and places. So the Buddha is unique in this. Now, why do we reflect on the birth, enlightenment, and death? Is that there are many, many aspects to this, but one of them is that he's born as an unenlightened human. So he doesn't arrive here already perfected. He's not born perfected. He struggles, he seeks, he makes mistakes. And finally, and at that point, he's referred to as a bodhisattva, an enlightenment-seeking person. And then at the age of 35, after 6 years of rigorous effort, he attains understanding, awakening, enlightenment. At that point, he's called the Buddha. And Buddha might be translated as many of these things: awakened, liberated, that kind of thing. He spends the next 45 years teaching others how to do this, how to see, how to understand, and shapes all of history for the next 25 centuries by doing this. And then he dies as a human does. We have other religious ideas preceding the Buddha where deities arrive from heaven and then they go back to heaven, etc. So the Buddha's death is also called the parinibbana, the final extinction. And this is a monumental event because he says something just before he passes away. After my death, neither gods nor humans will see me. So this also removes him from a place of a position in the heavens or something like this, where you are praying to the Buddha or getting aid from the Buddha, and that he's somewhere in space and time. This is a very important, meaningful death in that he has left the round of samsara and will not be returning. This is sometimes misunderstood. There's references to other Buddhas, and some people think, oh, it's the Buddha coming back again. So you get an imposition from Christianity on this, where Jesus will return. The Buddha will not return. The nature of a Buddha, at the death of a Buddha called parinibbana, means that that being will not be returning. Other Buddhas may arise, and this is another teaching by the Buddha, which is unique. He's not exclusive in history. There have been other Buddhas, and in the future there will be other Buddhas, but they won't be the same Buddha. So we can gain things by looking at his life before he was enlightened, because we can find elements of our own life, the struggles of our own life, in his life before enlightenment. That he was raised in a family and he had to be taken care of, and that he had a childhood and an education, and he had relatives. All of these things are important. So what's important is his birth, his life as a bodhisattva up to 35, his enlightenment, and then his life as a Buddha after that, and then his parinibbana, his death. So not only are his birth, enlightenment, and death important, but his whole life story is important as well.